Nietzsche's greatest fear was not the nihilist. The nihilist at least knows something is wrong. The nihilist has looked at the void and felt something, even if what they felt was despair. There is still a pulse there, still a reaction, still evidence that something in them understands what has been lost. What Nietzsche feared more was something quieter, more comfortable, more difficult to recognize because it does not look like failure from the outside. It looks like success. He called it the last man, a being who has everything they need, who is warm and fed and entertained and safe, who has optimized their life for the absence of discomfort, who wants nothing beyond what they already have, who has no great ambitions, no great passions, no willingness to suffer for anything beyond the next small pleasure, who blinks. Nietzsche wrote The Last Man in 1883. He was describing something he saw coming. Something that, looking at the world right now, has arrived more completely than even he anticipated. To understand The Last Man, you have to understand the context in which Nietzsche introduced him. He appears in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche's most ambitious and most literary work, presented as a contrast to the Übermensch. Zarathustra descends from his mountain to speak to the people in the marketplace. He offers them the Übermensch, his vision of what humanity could become if it embraced the challenge of growth, self-overcoming, the creation of meaning in a world where meaning is no longer handed down from above. The crowd is not interested in the Übermensch. They ask him instead to tell them about the last man. And when he does, when he describes this comfortable, satisfied, thoroughly optimized creature, they cheer. They want to be the last man. They think it sounds wonderful. Zarathustra is horrified. The crowd has mistaken his warning for an aspiration. The last man emerges from the same historical moment that produced God is Dead. Once the framework of meaning that religion provided has dissolved, once there is no longer a cosmic purpose to orient your life around, no transcendent standard against which to measure yourself, two paths become available. The first is the path Nietzsche advocated. The difficult, creative, demanding path of building your own meaning, of becoming the kind of person who does not need external validation or cosmic guarantee, of accepting the full weight of freedom and responsibility that the death of God creates. The second is the path of the last man, which is not nihilism exactly. The last man does not believe in nothing. The last man believes in comfort, in safety, in the small pleasures that are reliably available without requiring anything difficult, in the optimization of existence for the maximum reduction of suffering and the maximum accumulation of convenience. The last man has made peace with smallness, has decided, consciously or not, that the effort required for genuine growth is not worth the discomfort it costs, has looked at the challenge that the death of God presents, the challenge of becoming the author of your own meaning, and quietly declined. Nietzsche's description of the last man is precise and devastating. They have discovered happiness, he writes, and blink. They have left the regions where it was hard to live. They need warmth. They still work, for work is entertainment. But they are careful the entertainment does not become too taxing. Nobody becomes rich or poor anymore. Both are too much trouble. No shepherd and one herd. Everyone wants the same things. Everyone is equal. Those who feel differently go voluntarily into the madhouse. Read that again. No shepherd and one herd. Everyone wants the same things. Everyone is equal. Those who feel differently go voluntarily into the madhouse. He wrote that in 1883. The last man is not a historical figure. He is not a type of person from another era that we can look at with comfortable distance. He is a pressure that the modern world applies to every person living in it, and that most people, most of the time, yield to in ways they do not notice because the yielding is so ordinary it does not feel like a choice. Think about what the architecture of contemporary life optimizes for: convenience, frictionlessness, the removal of discomfort from every domain where technology can reach, the delivery of entertainment so precisely calibrated to your preferences that the effort of seeking it out has been eliminated, the social environment of likes and follows and algorithmic validation, a system that rewards the performance of acceptable opinions and quietly suppresses everything that deviates too far from the comfortable consensus. None of this is evil. None of it is a conspiracy. It is simply the direction that systems tend to move when optimized for what people say they want in the short term. And what people say they want in the short term is almost always some version of the same thing. Less friction, less discomfort, more of what already feels good. The last man does not look unhappy. That is the most important thing to understand about him, and the thing that makes him so difficult to recognize in yourself. He is fine, genuinely fine by every measurable standard. He sleeps well, he eats well, he has enough. His life contains regular, pleasant experiences and the absence of acute suffering. If you asked him whether he was happy, he would say yes, or something close enough to yes that the difference would not be immediately apparent. What he does not have, what he has traded away so gradually that he cannot remember the transaction, is the particular aliveness that comes from genuine engagement with something difficult. The quality of being fully present to something that matters enough to cost you something. The experience of reaching toward a version of yourself that does not yet exist, and feeling, in that reaching, that your life is going somewhere rather than simply continuing. Nietzsche called this vitality, the sense of being genuinely alive rather than merely comfortable. And his diagnosis was that the last man has optimized vitality out of existence in the pursuit of comfort, has made the exchange so gradually and so reasonably that by the time the full cost becomes apparent, the capacity for the other thing has atrophied. The blink is the detail that haunts the description. We have discovered happiness, and blink. It is such a small gesture. Not a dramatic rejection of life or a conscious choice for smallness. Just a blink, the barely perceptible flicker of someone who has encountered something that might demand more than they want to give, and looked away, who has felt the first stirring of a genuine aspiration and let it pass without acting on it, who has chosen, in 10,000 small moments, the available comfort over the demanding possibility. The accumulated blinks of a lifetime produce the last man. Not through any single catastrophic choice, but through the gentle, continuous, barely noticeable preference for the easier thing. Nietzsche's antidote to the last man is not suffering for its own sake. He was not arguing that you should make your life unnecessarily hard or reject comfort as a matter of principle. That would be its own kind of performance. The ascetic pose of someone who has replaced one form of self-deception with another. The antidote is engagement, genuine, costly, chosen engagement with something that matters enough to demand the best of you, something that cannot be done on autopilot, something whose difficulty is not incidental, but essential, that makes you more capable, more present, more fully yourself in the process of pursuing it. This is what the will to power, properly understood, points toward. Not domination or aggression, but the orientation of a life toward growth rather than comfort. The ongoing, imperfect, never-finished project of becoming more than you currently are. Not because you are dissatisfied with yourself, but because you are alive, and alive, things grow or they stagnate. Ask yourself honestly, where in your life you are choosing comfort over growth. Not dramatically, not in the obvious places where the choice is clear and visible, in the small places. The project you keep not starting because starting means risking failure. The conversation you keep not having because having it means entering uncertainty. The version of yourself you can feel pulling at you that you keep deferring because becoming it would require giving up the safety of who you currently are. Those are the blinks, and accumulating enough of them produces something that looks like a life from the outside, but feels, from the inside, like something important is missing, like the temperature has been turned down slightly from what it could be, like you are present in your own existence, but not quite in it. The last man does not know what he is missing, because he has never had it, or has had it so briefly and so long ago that the memory of it has faded. He has discovered happiness, and blinks. He does not know that what he calls happiness is the absence of the particular aliveness that his comfort has gradually crowded out. Nietzsche presented the last man as a warning, as an image of what becomes possible, what becomes likely, when a civilization removes the structures that demanded something of people and replaces them with structures that only ever give. He was not optimistic about whether the warning would be heeded. The crowd in the marketplace cheered the last man. They thought he sounded wonderful. They wanted to be him. The question the last man leaves you with is not whether Nietzsche was right about civilization. It is whether he is right about you, whether the life you are building is moving toward something that demands the best of you, or optimizing toward the absence of demand, whether the comfort you are accumulating is the reward for genuine engagement or the substitute for it, whether, in the 10,000 small moments where the choice was available, you blinked, and whether, knowing what the blink costs, you might choose differently next time.